Welcome back to the Sideline Report. Marvin Jackson here, along with Lou Holder, Donna Hopkins, and former quarterback with Washington and in the NFL, Jason Campbell. And Jason, how's that arm, by the way? I meant to ask you that earlier.
My arm it's been in retirement for a while, so if I try to throw a football or something, my pec might go with it.
All right. Well, we're going to talk about some college football, that college football championship game, and that was held on Monday. There was a big-time quarterback in that game, Michael Penix, and I'm going to ask you what you think about him. But at the same time, we're going to talk about Harbaugh, because he's also a guy who Washington might be looking at for head coach. And not only Washington, but several other teams. But he really built that Michigan team. Michigan was really struggling. And then when he came in, he had 10 wins the first season. That's the kind of guy he is. He's been successful everywhere. I think I've mentioned to Lou, when I went out to see Michigan when they played Maryland and I saw them run onto the field, I knew they were going to win that game because they just had a certain something when they ran on that field, and they were big, strong guys. And I think when they ran onto the field Monday night, Washington, by the first quarter, I think Washington knew they had met their match. So let's talk about that game. Jason, we'll start out with you. You didn't get an opportunity to be in a final when you were at Auburn. You guys were 10-0, I believe, 11-0.
13-0.
13-0, and you didn't get a
right,
chance.
Marvin.
Jason's like, give me every win that I got. That's pretty good, Jason. But Jason, talk about that game. How big was that game, and how important was it for some of those players and for Harbaugh?
Yeah, that was a huge game in a lot of ways. And when you think about it, you talk about Coach Harbaugh. Let's talk about him first. He was a winner at San Diego when he coached there, and then he went to Stanford and turned that program into a winner. And then you go to the 49ers. He's 44-19. As a coach there, they go to back-to-back NFC championships and they have a Super Bowl appearance. So he's been a winner. And then when he goes to Michigan, he instantly makes that a winning team, even though he lost the first, I think, 3 or 4 to Ohio State. They continue to just keep sawing wood. And now you look at it, won the last 3 against Ohio State. They've been in the last 3 playoffs, and they finished it off this year with being victorious. And I just think now the writing is for him. I think the next step is to come to the NFL. You think about the teams that are out there that are franchises that he feel like if they have the right pieces, he probably feels like, he's going to ask for some control. That's one thing I do know about Coach Harbaugh. He's a guy that likes to be able to make some of his own decisions. He don't like decisions being made for him. And I think a guy that's being proven in that way, why not give him the opportunity to bring in his own talent? I just think from that standpoint, he's proven at every level he can win. Now, going to the game, instantly, I always say going to big ball games as a quarterback, if we win the coin toss, I want to take the ball first. I want the opportunity to go down the field and score, put pressure on the opposing team, make them become the chaser. And I just feel like in that game last night with Washington, knowing you're playing a different type of opponent that's more physical probably, why when you won the coin toss that you defer to the second half and now you let Michigan come out and they get to set the tone for the game. And they came out and they went right down the field rushing the ball. And from that standpoint on, they said, okay, we can out-physical this football team for the rest of the game. But if Washington would have scored first and got the ball, then you could have put more pressure on Michigan and get them out of their comfort zone, which is running the ball, and make them have to put the ball in the air a little bit more. So I think Michigan controlled the game from start to finish. I thought it was a huge mistake by Washington to defer. I think they got Michael Penix, who's one of the best throwers of all time in college football. I think they rattled him early in the game. The offensive line wouldn't get off the ball on time. I think he was missing some reads because he felt like he had to go through his progressions a lot faster because he was getting hit a lot. And so I just think from that standpoint, in that ball game that Michigan, they set the tone and eventually you saw what happened.
Yeah. Josh Allen in a couple of bowl games. He had terrible bowl games, and look at Josh Allen now. So we can't just say that he can't make it in the NFL because of that game on Monday. Let's talk about the possibility of Harbaugh coming into the NFL. You know, right now, he is finally sitting at the table with his dad and his brother because his dad won a NCAA Division I AA championship at Western Kentucky, and his brother has won a Super Bowl. So now he can actually sit at the table with those guys. He wasn't only just saying, hey, I'm one of the best college coaches in America. I'm one of the best in my family. So I guess he got some bragging rights now. But how would that be if he came here with his brother right up the Parkway, Donna?
Yeah, that would be interesting. The brothers in Maryland, right up the road from each other, would be playing each other every once in a while. But I think that it has to be the right fit. Like you said, you look what he did in college. You have more control probably in college than you have the NFL. And as Jason said, he liked to be in control of things from the beginning to the end. So I think that, he's got the right tools as far as the winning attitude, knows how to assess probably talent. And you look at everything that he went through this season, and he still produced a winner. And I mean, because you think about, all the minuses that was going against Michigan all season long, and they still was winning when he wasn't even on the sideline. And to bring him to the NFL, a whole different monster in itself. Jason can attest to that. But I think that he has the tools to come here, the right coach, because he's not going to take anything, which I think that you need for this Washington football team with some of these players, because Sam Cosmi talked about it, is that you need some players on this team that will die for this team in playing well. And I think that Harbaugh and his attitude and what he would bring to the table would be a good mixture of what this organization is looking for, hopefully, in a coach. So we'll see, Marvin, because it's a lot of other good, talented coaches out there. And I'll be curious, Jason, how hard would it be for him to come into the NFL, being from the college ranks? College is totally one thing. NFL players is a whole different ball game, and him wanting to be more in control.
Let me jump in there real quick before Jason, because I really what you guys both said about control is why I don't think it would be a good fit here. I think that this needs to be the GM is comfortable with his own person, right? And we've talked on this show about sugar highs and things being whatever. I mean, Harbaugh is a great fit early on, and he's going to be successful. And I wouldn't be mad if he was here, but if you had my top choice, it'd be somebody like a Ben Johnson or somebody who is like an unknown that you can kind of see grow for 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years. I just feel that the Harbaugh is good. You'll be successful. You'll get maybe 10 wins or 11 wins. And like you said, he's earned it. But I think the retreads that we have seen through here, from the Shanahans to, Harbaugh, who's already been in the league. Although Harbaugh and Vrabel and some others are out there, I just feel that a fit for Washington would be that the GM, I think they're looking at the guy from San Francisco 49ers, which is huge. If they get him and then he picks somebody else, I think that would be more of what Josh Harris is looking for, something like that. So I kind of wanted to jump in with that, because I do feel that although Harbaugh's on a high and he's one of the sexy ones out there, so is Vrabel, I just feel that one of these other candidates is somewhere where I would go first.
You're right, Lou. The right fit. It has to be the right fit.
And the most that's going to come from, from connections and things that probably we don't even know about, conversations as far as, these guys, how soon have they been conversating together? You just heard about, Coach Belichick saying he's open to a change. That means that there's been some conversation with him somewhere. I remember they linked him to Washington early in the year talking about a trade for Coach Belichick. Like, don't, where there's smoke, there's fire. So you have to be ready for any of these choices and everything. But like I said, I think Washington's probably going to go with an offensive-minded head coach. And the only reason I say that is because you got the number 2 pick. So if they're sitting there and they want to draft one of these young quarterbacks, then they're going to try to tie that quarterback with the head coach first and foremost. And then I think from Coach Harbaugh's standpoint, the reason he wants to get out of college football, this whole NIL and transfer portal, it's worse than the NFL. Like, at least in the NFL, guys sign 3, 4, 5-year deals. So you got this guy for a certain amount of time. Where in college now, your roster can change immediately each and every year, and there's nothing you can do about it if a kid wants to go in the portal. So you have no control literally over your football team in college anymore. You're just at hands wing, just hoping that these guys just want to stick around. And so I think the dynamic of what college football and where it's at right now, I think is what's pushing guys like Coach Harbaugh to say, okay, I wanted to get Michigan a championship. He's done that. Now, what's his reasoning for what's guys like Harbaugh are competitors. They want the next challenge. What's his next challenge? He hasn't won a Super Bowl. He's tasted being there, but he hasn't won it. So I think that's what's going to push him to come to the NFL ranks. But I think Washington will try to someone new. I know Mike Vrabel will be, probably someone good. He's hard-nosed. He's tough. You've seen what Dan Campbell did at Detroit. Everyone laughed in the beginning, but now they see like, hey, it takes a hard-nosed coach in tough environments and organizations that's gone through roller coasters to actually get that thing going. So, maybe they do go defense. Maybe it is a Vrabel or Raheem Morris or someone like that. But I just think they have to go offensive-minded head coach with the number 2 pick if they're thinking about taking a quarterback.
Hey, we got a couple minutes to talk about the playoffs. This opening round. Who do you guys see as scary out there? What teams do you all think they might not have the home team advantage? Or
The Rams.
The Rams.
I was just getting ready to say that.
The Rams. The Rams are going to be
and you gotta watch out for
dangerous.
Green Bay.
Mhm.
I would say Detroit and Kansas City.
Detroit and Kansas City. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Kansas City actually could win, and I do like that thing about the Rams though, because they're healthy too. This is the healthiest they've been all season.
Detroit.
And Detroit is not healthy. Detroit lost their tight end.
Right. I just like the matchups. You got McCarthy playing his former team. You got Stafford and Goff going back and forth with one another. You got with the Texans and the Browns, you got the 2 teams that Deshaun Watson was playing for. You got a whole bunch of storylines going in there that's just tasty and it's just great. I will say that I am very, very surprised at how the Eagles have fallen off at the end. And if they're not careful, I think that Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and all them, they could do something. So it's going to be interesting.
What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, Philadelphia was 10-1, and everyone, knew they were just scooting by the end. It just eventually caught up with them. And so I just think that I do think Tampa Bay probably wins that game on Monday night. I think, to me, Buffalo is a team that I think could sneak to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I think Baltimore would beat them, but I just don't like that layoff. I don't like the layoff when you're a winning team like Baltimore. You don't play the last regular season game, your starters, and then you got another week off, and then you get a team like Buffalo that's hot. That scares me.
All right.
And Jason, the other team that I think people better watch out for is the Cleveland Browns, because they've got the number 1 defense probably in the NFL right there with Baltimore. Joe Flacco seemed to have his groove back. Now, the Texans snuck. They look like they were going to be out of it. So that's going to be a good matchup too, the Browns and the Texans. But I'm telling you, they made that game against the Rams and the Detroit Lions at 8:00 for a reason.
All right. Well, it should be a very interesting weekend with these playoffs coming up, and there will be some upsets for sure.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Lou and Donna, as always, and Jason Campbell, our good buddy out of Atlanta, Georgia now, and hopefully all is well with the family, Jason.
Yeah, all is well. Looking forward to this baby girl being born.
Yeah.
We're getting excited around here. And, hey, D.C. was our other place to live. It's just, you get older, these bones don't feel the same. So, we got.
Hey, sorry about that loss to Maryland in that bowl game there, Jason. Sorry about that loss.
It is. It is. Our guys, man, we got to wake up and start playing ball, man. I told them ever since NIL started, we hadn't had a winning season, so that should tell you something. But, Maryland tight end just committed to Auburn.
All right.
Hey, Jason, could you come on back up into the DC area and live so that we can come over your house to get one of those great meals that you cook?
Hey, I tell you what, if I was living in DMV, I would be invited every week because I'm always trying to have some type of event at the house. And
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
cooking indoors.
But we gotta roll up out of here. We're up against some time, and thanks everybody for being on the show, and thanks for watching, everyone. So for the Sideline Report, I'm Marvin Jackson. We'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the playoffs.